Hey, welcome back. Today I'm going to be making a maple walnut fudge. 'Tis the season for fudge. So I thought I'd show you how to make this. It's really simple, really easy. It doesn't take long, maybe 10 minutes. I'm going to be making half a batch today, but I can give you the recipe for a full batch of it. But I hope you stick around. I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so this is what you'll need. I always like using a wooden spoon to stir it. Since I'm making half a batch, I'm only going to use 1/2 a stick of margarine. I have tried this with real butter. It tastes amazing, but it, for some reason, does not set up as good. I don't know why. But in this pot, I put 1/2 a stick of butter. This is a half a recipe, so I'm only putting 1.5 cups of sugar. And then I'm going to put 1/2 a cup of evaporated milk. And I'm going to turn the heat on medium-high. And it's important that you just keep stirring, especially when it starts boiling. So over here I'm going to go ahead in this and I'm going to pour out my white chocolate chips, or white chips. And since it's half a recipe, I'm going to use 1/2 of a 7-ounce jar of marshmallow cream. And I've got a 8x8 pan. Normally I use the bigger pans for the full batch, but I have it lined with foil because once it sets up, you can lift it out and cut really pretty slices instead of trying to dig it out. So I just find that easier. I go ahead and scoop out my marshmallow cream. So that way I don't have to do that. And over here to the side I have walnuts and maple extract. So I'll be putting that in after I get all this mixed up. I'm just going to let all this melt down and come to a boil. This is the hardest part of the whole candy. What is your all's favorite candy? I make dreamsicle, raspberry cream, strawberry and cream, maple walnut, peanut butter, fudge. See, I was trying to think of some others I've made. I think I like the chocolate with the black walnuts. Speaking of that, I talked in my previous video about the black walnuts tree in front of my home, and that I wanted to gather them before the rain came. And I came home from work, and my husband, he gets home about 20 minutes earlier than I do, and he had gathered me almost 2 5-gallon buckets. So now I need to find a place for them to dry. A couple years ago, we had saved our big onion sacks to put those in, and we hung them off our carport. Well, I went out there one day and was noticing that it was getting fewer and fewer. Something kept taking the nuts out, and I looked and a squirrel was climbing up there and getting him a couple nuts every day. So I supplied his little squirrel family well that year. So I'm trying to figure out somewheres, because I would at least like to keep a couple of them. I don't care to share with animals, but I like to have a few to put up for candies, because I love the black walnut chocolate fudge. So I'm just going to keep stirring, and once this comes to a rapid boil, I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes. It's amazing how, like, food can bring back memories. When I was younger, really younger, probably 10. I was at my friend's house, and we were at her grandma's, and her grandma was an amazing cook. She had her own restaurant. For some reason, we got in the deep freezer. She wanted us to get something out of the deep freezer, and I remember her having gallon bags of those black walnuts shelled in her freezer. And that memory just still sticks with me. Every time I see those black walnuts, I'm thinking I really would like to have goals like her and have a couple, at least, big gallon freezer bags full of those nuts in my freezer. Alright, let's see. Trying to see if it looks like it's getting ready to boil. I don't use a candy thermometer on this. The only time I usually use one is when I'm making the peanut butter roll divinity kind, because you really have to have one for that. But this one, I just kind of eyeball it. I've made it so much. I'm wondering how this will do with making candy. I've never used this one for candy. I always use one of my thinner, it's the same size as this cooker, but it's one of the thinner bottom cookers. So this may be a first and last in this cooker. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my timer for 5 minutes. We're just gonna keep stirring. Okay, so you see we're just a few minutes in, and it's starting to get a lot thicker, and it's changing colors. If you can tell, it gets like almost like a brown color, and it gets a lot more foamy. Just gonna keep stirring. There you go. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add the white chocolate chips. I'm going to turn it off, move it off the burner, off the heat, and we'll go ahead and add this in. This smells so good. All right. Then we're going to go ahead, since it's not all the way mixed up, we're going to add, it's probably about a tablespoon of maple walnut flavoring. Going to add a good handful, probably 2 handfuls, right here, of the walnuts. And we're just going to keep stirring. And this smells so good. All right. Okay, so now we're gonna pour it out. That was heavy. All right, let's see if we can get a good probably not going to focus on that, but I'm just going to smooth it out. There it is. And I'll show you once it cools how pretty it is sliced. And let me tell you, it smells amazing. That maple smells so good. It up probably 10 minutes. So I'm going to lift it out and cut a big slice. And it's still good and warm, so. But there's maple walnut fudge. It's really easy, you should try it. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I hope you try this recipe and enjoy it. Have a blessed day.